We have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta. This is your Week 4 2024 prediction and preview video. Hit subscribe if you're new. Also hit the like button. Let's start off with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, a couple weeks ago, they defeated the Philadelphia Eagles Monday Night Football. That last drive was special by Kirk Cousins. They have to be more consistent in this game because last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, Kirk Cousins wasn't bad, but at the same time, he was not consistent. He was 20 of 29 on the day for 230 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. Tyler Algier had 7 carries for 32 rushing yards. They need to continue to give him the football if he is the hot hand. Bijan Robinson had 16 carries for 31 rushing yards. They should have really went out there and put Bijan Robinson at kick returner and punt returner and feed Tyler Algier. Whoever has the hottest hand early on, feed that running back the football. The Falcons went down there in their first drive of the game last week and they scored a touchdown. It was the perfect drive for them. And Coach Robinson went completely away from that. Continue to feed the beast in the backfield, yes. Run more play action bootlegs with Kirk Cousins and get guys involved like Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, and also Drake London as well. And do some end-around plays with Darnell Mooney. He has elite speed. He has been the #1 target in terms of production so far for the Atlanta Falcons. And we all know that Drake London is the true #1 wide receiver. Drake London had 67 receiving yards last week and 1 receiving touchdown. Darnell Mooney had 8 catches for 66 receiving yards last week. Kyle Pitts only had 2 catches for 59 receiving yards. Don't force Kyle Pitts to football. If he's not open, don't force it to him. There was too many times last week to where Kirk Cousins was trying to force him to football to just get him involved. You don't have to do that. That's why you have Darnell Mooney and Drake London. And also have Bijan Robinson come out the backfield as well. And I'm really saying this right here for Coach Robinson. He had a horrible play call late in the game. It was 4th and inches. And the man went with an outside play. Why are you going with outside zone? Run the football at the middle with a guy like Bijan Robinson. The situational play calling has to be better with Coach Robinson moving forward. And Kirk Cousins, outside the pocket, it has not looked pretty. They stuck him in pistol for pretty much the entire game against the Steelers in week 1. It hurt their offense. And I understand why they did that because that was the only setting that he could really work in when he was recovering off that Achilles injury in training camp. But Kirk Cousins still has the ability to go outside the pocket and make some good plays. He never had the speed like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. That does bother me against this Saints front 7 because they'll send some blitzes and if the offensive line can't pick him up, he's a sitting duck. So the offensive line has to be in their A game as well. Caleb at the right tackle position is questionable for this game. He's dealing with an MCL injury. We'll see if he's able to play. But the Atlanta Falcons, they have key weapons. They just have to gel together. Kirk Cousins has to take care of the football and pick up the blitzes of the New Orleans Saints because they have a very good front 7 and a very good secondary as well. And they went out there and they made Jalen Hurts look like an average quarterback last week. You do not want Kirk Cousins to just be sitting in the pocket and they're sitting 7 to 8 guys and he has nowhere to go. So create lanes for guys to go out there and get open on the outside of the running backs to take some of that pressure off of Kirk Cousins and run some screens early as well. And do not call too many deep shots down the field with your hampered offensive line. Far as the defense for the Atlanta Falcons, they played very good last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. They only had 22 points on the board. They lost this game 17-22. And it was also a play that was not called. It was defensive pass interference. Kyle Pitts was in the back of the red zone. They did not call it. We could be talking about a completely different ball game if they were to call that penalty for the Atlanta Falcons. But the referee missed it. You have to go out there and put pressure on Derek Carr. Derek Carr last week returned back to earth. Now, he had a bad game last week, but we know that he's capable of going out there and taking the deep shots to guys like Rashid Shaheed and also Chris Olave as well. But when you look at the Falcons defense, they have very good safeties. This may be the best safety tandem in the NFL with Justin Simmons and also with Jesse Bates as well. Justin Simmons had an interception last week. Jesse Bates has been flying across the field. He's been the best cover safety in the NFL, even dating back to last season. He had the game-winning interception against the Philadelphia Eagles on that Monday Night Football game. So those guys have to go out there and help out those cornerbacks because this team had a tough time guarding Rashee Rice last week. And Chris Olave can give you a lot of problems. I think that Rashid Shaheed's going to have a bounce-back game, but he's not going to be able to go out there and just take the top off the defense because of how good and versatile these safeties are. So go out there. You can run press man coverage. I would not recommend doing that against a guy like Rashid Shaheed or even Chris Olave. But if you're going to have Jesse Bates or Justin Simmons as single high safety, you can do it every now and then. And we know, even dating back to last season, the Atlanta Falcons like to play press man coverage a lot with guys like Mike Hughes and AJ Terrell as well. The pass rush has to be better. Matthew Judon has been the only guy to consistently get to the quarterback. This team has the lowest pressure quarterback rate in the NFL. So guys like Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata and Zach Harrison, they have to go back there. They have to pressure Derek Carr, because if you don't, he will pick you apart. I understand that the secondary with the Atlanta Falcons is elite, just like how the New Orleans Saints secondary is elite. But if you give a quarterback enough time in today's NFL, he is going to kill you. So you have to put that pressure on Derek Carr. You can even go out there and blitz Derek Carr if you want to. Raheem Morris is very creative with his blitzes, even dating back to when he was the defensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams. And he did a very good job of coaching up the defense last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. And he did a very good job of coaching up the defense against the Philadelphia Eagles as well. The defense has to go out there and get pressure, whether it's through blitzes or just Matthew Judon or someone else having a crazy game. And you're going against a beat up offensive line for the New Orleans Saints as well. But I think the Atlanta Falcons, they really have a good shot of going out there and winning this football game. Now let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Now what happened? The first 2 weeks they went out there, they had one of the best offenses in the NFL. And they still have a very good offense, in my opinion. But last week, they got into a defensive slugfest against the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost the game 15-12. Derek Carr on the day was 14-25 for 142 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown to 1 interception. Alvin Kamara, 26 attempts for 87 rushing yards. That was it. Rashid Shaheed had 5 targets, 0 catches. And that's the key. Rashid Shaheed in the first 2 weeks against the Carolina Panthers and against the Dallas Cowboys, he was able to take the top off the defense. You have to get him involved. Even give him a screen pass behind the line of scrimmage. He's a very good wide receiver. You had Chris Olave. He led the team in receiving yards last week, 86 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown. After him, it was Alvin Kamara. He had 40 receiving yards. And that's fine and cool because he's a dual threat running back. But it makes 0 sense for Rashid Shaheed to have 0 catches on the day. Get him the football, because if you can't get him the football in this game, it's going to be hard for you to go out there and win this football game as well. It is very interesting to say this as well. They were missing Taysom Hill last week. He is expected to play this week for them. He's a very good versatile piece. He could play tight end. He could play quarterback. He could play slot wide receiver. I think that he can be a key player in this game if he's able to play. But you just can't bank in on him. You have Foster as well at the tight end position. Get him involved. But it really starts with Rashid Shaheed. If the Atlanta Falcons take away that explosive playmaking ability, then you have to beat them underneath. Derek Carr was looking for Rashid Shaheed early last week, and the Philadelphia Eagles got physical with those wide receivers. He had to depend on Chris Olave, and that's fine and cool. But when they started to put double coverage on Chris Olave, the offense slowed down. Derek Carr has to be better, and the offensive line has to protect in this game as well. Because Eric McCoy, he's in the midst the next couple of games. He's dealing with an injury right now. He's in the midst the next 4 to 6 weeks. You have Lucas Patrick at the center position. Pay attention to him. He's a veteran. But he's no Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy is one of the better centers in the NFL to have. You have Talasay Fuaga as well, who has played very good at left tackle position, the big rookie. You also have Trevor Penning at the right tackle position. He's played very well. We know last season he was a holding machine. He gave up a lot of sacks. He did have a stupid penalty last week. He drove Darius Slay into the bench. It's okay to finish the play. Just don't do it like that. We saw plays like that in college. He can be a very good player, but he stands in his own way sometimes. You do not want to rack up penalties in this game, especially facing the Atlanta Falcons in their house. Play clean football, take care of the football, and if the deep shots are not there, don't force it. Clint Kubiak, call some plays underneath, and make the Atlanta Falcons respect that run game as well. You also have to give Jamal Williams the football more. Jamal Williams only had 1 carry last week. I understand he's not as explosive as Alvin, and that's fine. But run with him in between the tackles. That's what he is good at. He is not the same running back he was a couple of years ago when he led the league in rushing touchdowns with the Detroit Lions, but he's still a very good power back that can push the pile. Take some of that mileage off of Alvin Kamara, because we saw what he was able to do against the Dallas Cowboys. I can see the New Orleans Saints offense going out there and scoring 20 plus points in this game if need be. As far as the defense for the Saints, they played very good last week. It was a heartbreaker when Saquon Barkley went out there and he ran for the game-winning touchdown because they played so good the entire game until that last drive. They held the Philadelphia Eagles to 15 points. Jalen Hurts had 0 passing touchdowns on the day. 1 interception, he got sacked 4 times. Tyrann Mathieu came away with the interception last week. The secondary has to go out there and do their thing. Just like how the Atlanta Falcons secondary has to go out there and do their thing, same thing with the New Orleans Saints. And they have the players to go out there and lock these guys up. You have Paulson Adebo, who is a very good cornerback in his own right. Marshawn Lattimore, who is the best cornerback with his team. Tyrann Mathieu, I just mentioned him. He's still a very good safety to have. He's a ball hawk. Alontae Taylor is very good as well. This is a strong suit of the New Orleans Saints. You can run press man coverage. I will say this. Be on lookout on who is guarding Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts in the past has been hampered by terrible quarterback play, but he can get open. I would not put a traditional linebacker on him. I know this team has Demario Davis. He's a very good linebacker, one of the most slept on linebackers in the NFL. They have Willie Gay as well. Both of those guys can make plays in space, but I would not put them in one-on-one situations with a guy like Kyle Pitts because he can go out there and he can turn to a wide receiver very quickly. And pay attention, if they have Kyle Pitts inside the slot, just slide in Tyrann Mathieu over the top to help out that cornerback or just help him out in his zone coverage because he did a very good job of that last week. And I will say this, they gave up a lot of yardage to Dallas Goedert last week. Kyle Pitts has the potential to go out there and break this game open for the Falcons if you don't watch him. I am comfortable with them having Marshawn Lattimore on Drake London. Not to say he's going to fully shut out Drake London, but I think that they'll have a fun matchup. That's something to pay attention to. Also, who is going to guard Darnell Mooney as well? The Saints like to run zone and also man coverage as well. We have 2 defensive gurus going at it with Raheem Morris and also with Dennis Allen as well. As far as the front 7, they played very good last week. Carl Granderson has 3 sacks on the season, 1 forced fumble. You have Cameron Jordan as well, who is still a very good run stopper, has not been able to get to the quarterback as much, but they don't need him to because you have a guy like Carl Granderson. Chase Young only has half a sack on the season, but he's a very good pass rusher here and there. Brian Bresee has 3 sacks on the season. He's been a phenomenal defensive tackle so far this season. This is a defensive line that's very versatile. You have a bunch of run stoppers. You have a bunch of pass rushers as well. And when you look at the right tackle position with the Falcons, it's a bit iffy there. This is a game for Carl Granderson to go out there and do his thing. You also have Demario Davis, who you can send on blitzes, and the same with Willie Gay as well. With that being said, this is going to be a physical football game. And I do believe that the Falcons are in a must-win situation. If they lose this game, they go to being 1-3. And they can afford to go 1-3. And the same with the Saints as well. They lose this game, they lose back-to-back, they'll be 2-2. But I do believe that the Falcons have that home field advantage. They're going to find a way to win at home. Give me the Atlanta Falcons to win this game by a field goal, 24-21. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game, the Atlanta Falcons or the New Orleans Saints? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.